She's trying to continue. I can't hold you back. Hello, welcome to Fibertown. This is episode 210. What day is it today? The 30th of January, 2018, and it's late afternoon in my kitchen. The light's still pretty good. The sun is coming back to this part of the world bit by bit. And some excellent news. This episode marks the fifth podiversary of Fibertown. It's hard to believe, and I'm very grateful for everyone who joins me when I come and talk to my computer, and it turns out I'm talking to you guys, or you women, as it were, or both. I'm happy to talk to anybody who's interested in fiber, and that is what this podcast has brought me. And I hope it's brought you some good stuff as well, some joy in fiber and some ideas and inspiration, because I know it's brought me all of those things. So thank you for taking part. I forgot to mention that I got to meet Gracie, who is one of the hostesses of the Knit Shift, along with her mistress, Laura, and I got to spend a lovely few hours with them at their place, and Gracie is adorable, and Laura made me a delicious lunch, and it's just kind of an example of kind of the wonderful things that doing this podcast has brought me. So, as a lovely giveaway, celebrating the podiversary, I have this gorgeous and special skein of yarn to give away. This was donated by Claire of the Woolly Thistle. You may recognize this is Isle yarn, pure wool from the Isle of Purbeck, which is in fact a peninsula. I believe it's in Dorset. Could have that wrong. Claire has all the information on the Woolly Thistle website, but it's really great stuff, and I actually got some other, I forgot, never mind. Just realized something I forgot to bring to my fibery mess to show you, which was also from the Woolly Thistle. I'm a little scattered today. You'll have to bear with me. So this, I will put some sort of prompt on the episode thread, or maybe not the episode thread, I don't know, on the Ravelry group, which you can find information about that at the beginning of the episode. This is 100% pure wool, as I said, from the Isle of Purbeck, and this is 100 grams, 350 meters, which is 380 yards, and it's supposed to be knit as a 4-ply. It is a 2-ply, in fact. I don't like that designation, people who do that in the UK. And possibly other places. It is a 2-ply. It would be amazing in lace. It would be really great in color work. It has that flat 2-ply structure that would suit color work, and it's a great neutral color, or you can make something really gorgeous out of it. Lots of things. Oh, some really nice long mitts would be great. So this is worsted spun, and the colorway is Far Swire. I don't know if that's the way you say that. But this is to be given away. So hop over and see what the prompt is if you want to take part. So, I have lots to show today and share. So let's get started. I have an FO. This is my avocado raglan. This is knit out of Blacker brushwork. And this is the smudge colorway. And Blacker brushwork is a combination. I'm just showing you the bottom. It came out quite long. The yarn did grow a bit, even though it is not superwash. It is a mix of Scottish Beaumont, which is a Merino Shetland cross, I believe, some alpaca, like 20%, as well as, God, why do I always get this wrong? It's bad. Those are some of the things in this yarn. I don't know why I can't keep it straight, but It is plush. It is cushy. I think Sarah Pomegranate is the one I heard describe it as plush. And it's great. Came out bigger than my first one. And I'm unhappy with the extra Raglan fabric, which just, it didn't happen in the first one I made, but it does happen. And I'm thinking I might go back and take out some of the Raglan increases on the front. I don't think I need to take them out in the back. I think it's quite nice and flush with my body. I like a sweater that's fitted until my upper bust. And then I like more ease, which is what this is. I would say it's got about 1 inch to 2 inches of positive ease, but this needs to be dealt with. I love how the cables came out, and there's some shaping that happens between the cables where it comes down into this hourglass for the waist shaping, then it comes back out for the hip shaping. And this color right here in this lighting, this is the true color. And then when I come down here, it's much more purple. But it's a gorgeous, gorgeous yarn, and this is so cozy. It's like a comfy sweatshirt. The sleeves are a bit longer. Really nice stuff. So my avocado raglan, someday when I'm happy with the pattern, I will publish it, maybe next fall, because it's getting to the time of year when a lot of people are turning from knitting sweaters anyway. So yeah, I might take my time and knit a third one and deal with that. I think I haven't seen a raglan pattern. It's this just like even the Barbara Walker old raglan patterns are like massive amounts of fabric here. And I believe the raglan was originally designed for military purposes. It was designed for men, you know, who were probably wearing lots of layers and they needed more room in their sleeves. So while it's fun and easy to knit raglan sweaters, it may not be the best suited for every application, but they are fun to knit and easy. So yeah, as I was saying, I haven't seen a raglan pattern that does the increases, continues the increases on the back, but stops them sooner in the front. And I'm trying to think if there would be any ramifications of that. I don't think there would. It would just be a different width. Be the same. Anyway, let's not think on screen. Okay, because then I just look blank and vacant. That's my thinking face. Okay, resting thinking face. Well, I have lots of works in progress and been a bit schizophrenic with my works in progress. Sort of once this was nearing completion, I just wanted to cast on lots of things. This was already finished. This is West Yorkshire Spinners, Signature 4-ply. This is the Mallard colorway. I looked it up. Go me, finally. So I'm knitting the second one, and this is actually, it's the second to last day of the month, and I don't have the second sock super close to completion. So this is going to be the first month in a while that I haven't finished a pair. But I have half of another one going, so, you know, I'm going to take it as a year-long period and try to average one a month. That works. So this I did from about here to here in a day. So I could finish this if I just put my other projects down. But I seem to be incapable of doing that. So the other sock I have on the needles is one I finally cast back on. It's the Pierogi Slipper Socks by, goodness, Sarah. What is your last name, Sarah? It's P.A. Knitwit. Sarah, I want to say a thing that's probably not right, so I'm going to look it up. Oh, I was right, Sarah Jordan. Okay. So these are a very fun shorty sock that has this sort of, probably see it better on the pattern. Yeah. I cast these on a while ago and just knit at a bulletproof gauge in a size that was way too small. You really have to measure, the sizing comes in foot circumference. So it's different kind of sizing than I'm used to doing, and it's a sport weight yarn, so I had to play around with the size. So I'm actually knitting, I went up a needle size. I'm using is it a 3.5? Yes, 3.5 millimeter. which is a US 4. Is that right? That doesn't seem right. Okay, we'll say it's right. And I'm using Ross Farm Shetland. I can't remember the sheep's name. Do I have it in here? I don't think I do. Anyway, it's a Shetland from the Ross Farm, sport weight. Great stuff. It's a fun knit, and I think that's gonna fly now. It's I've done the hard part, and the rest is I'm just doing the gusset the way I do it. The rest of the sock is I'm doing as written, but it's my typical heel. So those could just zoom off the needle if I focused on them. The other thing I cast on was this. Now, where have I put? Here it is. This yarn. This is the Berlin Yarn Company, Speckled Hen. This is a mixture of Hebridean and Cheviot, or Cheviot. I've heard it said so many ways. And it's this gorgeous Marl DK. Speckled Hen is the colorway. So the Berlin Yarns is the Outer Hebrides on the Isle of Berneray. And these are the seafaring sheep. It's not seafaring sheep. They are taken on boats to graze in different places. Claire from the Woolly Thistle and New Hampshire Knits did a podcast with the owner or the shepherdess of Berlin Yarn, and it's a wonderful episode. I think it was from this summer. So if you want to check it out, New Hampshire Knits, NH Knits, go and listen. It's really great. So I was anxious to get my hands on some, and I have cast on just a very simple mitten. And I'm going to do the front in garter stitch and the back in stockinette. I just want to see what this looks like in garter stitch. I think it will be very fun. What else? I've cast on the very first of my Knit Camp hat ribbings. And needles are falling all over the place. This is the first one. I had the students tell me what their top 3 colorways were. Excuse me. And this one is the very first one I decided to make. This is Violetas in Malabrigo worsted. It's a single ply merino from South America. I really like it for hats and for people who may have misconceptions about wool in general, who are complete newbies to the world of wool and maybe think of it as scratchy and kind of maybe undesirable in some way. And this just, it's a non-superwash, but it is a single ply, and the dyeing is just luminous, and it's very soft. It does not stand up to much anything else but maybe hats and shawls. It pills like crazy, but it's a lovely tactile experience if you have those woolly misconceptions, and it sort of is a foot in the door kind of wool, in my opinion, especially for a non-superwash. Now, I have lots of I'll show you the rest of those wools when I show you acquisitions. But I want to zoom along to my spinning. And I've started plying my Tunis spin, my fleece spin. I have 2 unwashed skeins. They're very sheepy. And the very first skein, I made a rookie mistake. I couldn't believe I did it. I started plying, and I plied in the same direction that I spun. So I spun Z clockwise, and I plied Z also clockwise, and I realized about halfway through that something was not right. So no, I was almost done. So I finished. I wound it onto another bobbin. Thank goodness for bobbin winders. And I put it back through the wheel in the other direction, and it took forever because I had to untwist everything first and then twist it in the opposite direction. And I'm not convinced that it's going to behave like I want it to when I knit with it. It's this one here. And just the look of the yarn was so different from this one, which was accurately plied. Now it's plied back in the way it should be, but I don't know. We'll see. 3-ply. 3-ply is what I did. So Tunis sheep, I have my Fleece and Fiber Source book. Tunis sheep are, this is the American Tunis. The breed originated, as the name implies, in northern Africa, here in Tunisia. Actually, the American Tunis developed from a breed called the Tunisian Barbary sheep. Is that right? Yes. An ancient breed, and the original Tunisian Barbary sheep came to North America as a gift from the Tunisian government to the American government, which was then headed by Thomas Jefferson, who really loves, I say it like he's still alive, he loved agriculture. He had the vision of the agrarian landowner, pastoral paradise, governed by educated people. You know, there were all sorts of issues, right? But anyway, if you've been to his home, Monticello in Virginia, he was a curator of animals and plants in this garden. So the American Tunis became very popular. It's apparently a very delicious sheep to eat. And it was almost, it became almost destroyed in this country during the American Civil War because there was nothing to eat. So there were very few left, and they were brought back. They were conserved. So apparently this sheep thrives in hot climates, but also adapts to northern climates. And look at, there's that red face. And the lambs are indeed born red. I would love to have a first shearing hogget fleece from a Tunis. I think that would be gorgeous. What else do they say? Yeah, so it's been added to the Ark of Taste by the Slow Food Movement, which is something I hadn't realized. So that is the American Tunis, and it's a very creamy color in general. No very white colors in this sheep. So that's my spinning. Other than this, which is a Norwegian wool that I just received, and I put it on one of my drop spindles. This is a Golding drop spindle. This is a Tsunami. They are all the Goldings have a metal weight around the whorl, and that aids their sort of their balance and their spinning longevity. So there's this. I think this is a Pelsau wool. I'll talk more in acquisitions, but this is also, just threw this on the spindle and spun this up in 5 minutes. Very delightful. So, no pun intended, sewing. I showed on my last podcast that my cocoa top, cocoa jacket. What's wrong with me today? And the puffy sleeves, which became the title of that episode. So I understood, or I figured out what happened with the puffy sleeves, and that is that I fundamentally misunderstood what was supposed to happen in this pattern. And there were so many helpful messages from everyone listening and thinking, what is that woman thinking? No doubt. But I saw the instructions to do gathers or make gathering stitches. It wasn't really to do gathers, and that was my misunderstanding. I saw, like, do 2 lines of basting stitches, and I immediately thought, oh, I have to gather the sleeve cap. When in fact, you really have to just zhuzh the sleeve cap enough so that it fits into the arm side. And I don't understand why that has to happen that way, why the pattern pieces can't just be cut to fit. But it involves geometry that I don't understand. And not all sleeves are like this, but in fact, I looked up, who was it? Blueprints for Sewing. Yeah, blueprintsforsewing.com has a stellar tutorial for setting in sleeves and tweaking them. Highly recommend that if you need it. So I left the lining as is, and I constructed the outer part. And yeah, the sleeves turned out very well, I think. Except, like, this one is nice. This is it. The seam, the shoulder seam matches the sleeve seam. This one I tried a million billion times, and it is a couple centimeters off. Look at that. I would think it was aligned, and then I basted it in, and it would become unaligned. And I was really at risk of kind of ruining the selvages of these sleeve pieces. If I fiddled with them anymore, they were just unraveling. So I left it. It's dark. It's a dark fabric. It's not highly visible. So that solved the shoulders. They look great now, and I really thank everyone who chimed in. And I did use my, I got a sleeve roll, and that did really help. I actually used my tailor's ham to press the sleeve cap. I can see where a sleeve roll would be useful when you're pressing the shorter circumferences of the sleeves. I wonder if this will fit over my sweater. Yeah, look at that. The lining is on. I used a non-static polyester lining. It's not non-static. It's like more staticky than regular linings. So it's a little bit bulky, but there it is. So the princess seams go sort of right here. I understand them more now, and I'm not sure I quite did them justice, but you know, they're just not super curved. And just the easing in of seams it was new to me. And now I'm seeing the lining pop up right there. It's lay flat. It's gonna bug me. Were I to make this again, I would absolutely use tailor's tacks. And in fact, I would never sew at night, especially on a dark fabric. I marked each sleeve piece with an F and a B because there are two pieces. There's a front piece and a back piece to the sleeve. I'm positive that at least on one of these I reversed them. And I think that might be why there's this kind of drag on the sleeve. So I did do some fudging on the sleeves. I didn't want to do them again. Doing the lining and attaching it was surprisingly easy. It wasn't easy, but it was doable, and it came out okay. I still haven't stitched this back together. This is where I turned the coat back right side out through the lining. So that's the very last thing I have to do to this, and give it a last press. As far as the pattern goes, it's not for beginners. It assumes you know how to do a lot of things that they don't hold your hand. And this is so over it, London, the cocoa jacket. And the first instruction that was like, can't remember what it was. There was an instruction earlier on that said repeat for the other side, but then it never said that kind of thing again, even though you had to do multiple things, the same thing twice. So yeah, a little inconsistency that bugged me a little bit. But all in all, it's a thing that can be worn. Now, you may remember, I had ideas about making this out of hand-woven fabric. I haven't completely discarded that idea, but I have misgivings because of the amount of manipulation you really have to do with the fabric pieces in terms of easing and stretching and manipulating and pressing. And I think I would really need to full the hand-woven fabric substantially. Not felt it, but full it pretty substantially to have it be able to withstand the rigors of the sewing. So I do have two new patterns. I got this one. This has been on my radar for a while. Raglan Studio. Their things fit me. They fit me well. So I like to buy their patterns. I want to get the Tamarack jacket as well. And I also want to make the Sapporo coat next year, maybe. That's by Paper Cut Patterns. Not going to buy those patterns at this point, but those are on the list. And the other thing I got is a pattern by the designer of the Lander pant, which I tried to make, and I've worn it a bit. But this is the Hudson pant. Yes, this is what I want to wear when I come home from working, and I just want to, like, I can't function unless I'm in comfy clothes. Very excited to try this, and I think maybe everybody in the family wants this. So fun things to make on the horizon. So now I'm really just down to acquisitions. The thing I got from the Woolly Thistle, which is now in the other room, it is the Shetland Wool Week from 2017. I got the book. She got it back in stock, and there's a pattern in there that I saw on the Fruity Knitting podcast by Wilma Malcolmson. And it's a colorwork cushion inspired by a Vermeer painting, and I fell in love with it. I want to make it, and this particular designer has not put her patterns on Ravelry. I think she's on there, but I looked at the other thing she's made for Shetland Wool Week, and they've just never come onto Ravelry, so I figure I'm never going to get this pattern unless I buy the Shetland Wool Week annual. And I'd put it by my chair to read, and that way it used to be in my podcasting basket, but it escaped coming to be shown. But hopefully I'll cast that on this winter sometime, or maybe in the summer, and you guys will see it then. So the other thing that I got is more Isle yarns. These are the 50-gram balls. I just love this color combo, and it needs to be mittens. This is another 4-ply. It's the same as the giveaway yarn, just in a smaller put-up. So she has a couple colors of these in the 50 grams. Made in England, worsted spun. This is the Glencoe colorway. Again, from Dorset. Yes, Isle of Purbeck is in Dorset, I guess. It says Dorset. And this is Stone Hips, which I want to say was like my nickname in college. It wasn't, but isn't that funny? Okay. It's ridiculous. My other Malabrigo for Knit Camp, I have Quartzo, and this is burgundy, I think, original. The most excellent colorway, glazed carrots. The students who are coming this year like their bright colors. I'm impressed. And then these two, Paris Night and what's this one? Geranio. This is really hot fuchsia. It doesn't look like this in real life. So fun colors. I'm excited. So my very last thing to share with you. Oh no, two things. Heather Zip Code. She answered my call for a match for the Eco wool that I got that I have. This is mine. I have 2 of these, and Jaime wanted to make his first sweater out of it. And she had some, and it was unlabeled, but she knew it was older stash, so she thought maybe it'll match. It absolutely doesn't. It may be hard to tell on screen. This one has got heathering to it, and this one doesn't. But you know, I don't know how much of the 3rd skein he's going to need. Probably like 100 yards, 150. He could totally do cast on with this, do ribbings with this, don't you think? Ribbings and hems. Well, they're all ribbings. Am I crazy? There they are closer up. Again, you may be able to tell that they're different. You may not. I would love to make this work because I really don't want to buy more yarn. Although it is kind of fun. But when you have yarn that's usable, you want to make it work. There, you may be able to see the difference there. Anyway, Heather Zip Code, you are delightful, and thank you so much. We'll figure it out. So the other thing was unexpected in that it was offered to me, but I knew it was coming and I was thrilled to receive it. And this is from Patricia of Knitography, who's got a really delightful vlog and on YouTube. It's called Knitography. She sent me Norwegian wool. And you know, I'm curious about different wools. And she has a little farm near Trondheim in Norway. And this is, I think, from the first clip of her Grau Trondersau sheep. That's redundant because sow means sheep. First clip from her sheep. Look at these magnificent colors. And then this that I started spinning is another breed called Spelsau. Is it Spelsau? Shoot. There's so many Norwegian words now floating around in my head, and I had to download the Norwegian keyboard onto my phone so I could type these words out with the correct accents. Okay, this is pelsull, pelt wool or fur wool, and that one is in the Fleece and Fiber source book. I couldn't find the Grau Trondersau, which I guess is a highly place-specific sheep from Trondheim, Tronder. So Pelsau gets a little paragraph down here. That is not a Pelsau, but isn't that the funniest looking sheep? That is a Faroese sheep from the Faroe Islands, so not far from Norway. My gosh, that is like an awkward adolescent. Sorry. Okay, enough editorializing. So Pelsau is an excellent source of felting wool. It's a crossbred sheep, a crossbreed originating in the 1960s, crossing gray Spelsaus with Swedish Gotlands. I think that's where some of that gorgeous color comes from. Yeah, and these are the locks. Beautiful, Patricia. I'm already enjoying the spinning of that first one, and then she sent along Pelsull, Norsk Pelsull. This is spun by Hillesfjord, and it's Hifa. I think it's a DK, and it's this amazing charcoal gray. It might look midnight blue on my computer. It's deep charcoal. And this is pelt wool or fur wool, and this is just right up my alley. I have to think about what this is going to become. Gorgeous, gorgeous stuff. DK weight, 2. So check out Knitography if you don't already know about Patricia and the things she puts out into the world, which are delightful. I hope you guys have gotten some delightful inspiration today here. Yeah, I've made a mess again. So go on over to Ravelry and enter the giveaway for the Isle Yarns, which now is lost in this mess somewhere, but it's here, I promise. And I will see you next week for more of this. Take care.